African Liberation Day 2023, San Diego Justice Center, 619 Liberation Report. My name's Cole, an organizer with the San Diego Justice Center, reporting back on my experience this year working in collaboration with a great coalition of African and supportive organizations here in San Diego. And I just gotta say, the event was amazing. It was a huge success. The whole experience of planning and participating and building those connections and getting to know the comrades here in San Diego from African People's Socialist Party and Socialist Unity Party and Black Panther Party and all the other groups that came out to support in one way or another. It's really just an inspiring way to kick off a summer of what I hope to be really militant and vigilant action against the imperialist capitalist state, and a broad coalition of leftist orgs coming together, overcoming our past differences here in the West of random fractionalism and sectarianism to stand behind the causes that we all understand to be true. It's especially important this year to call out the real urgency of African Liberation Day. One thing I learned is that the APSP, the comrades in APSP, refer to African Liberation Day as future liberation, because anyone who works in this struggle knows that we're a long ways away from achieving that. And this year, we're reminded of that as Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the Uhuru 3, supporters of African liberation in this country, on this continent, for over 50 years, being indicted as agents of a foreign state or some nonsense. A tough but inspiring time that we live in, and a really tough and inspiring African Liberation Day to work on. It's a reminder that what we're doing can make a difference. What the APSP has done and what the PSL does and what the Justice Center does makes a difference. And in fact, it makes such a difference that it puts you on the radar of the feds quite regularly throughout our history as leftist organizers in the United States. That's the reality we face today, this year, 2023, African Liberation Day. That's more true than it has been in a long time. It's more real than it has been in a long time for leftists in our country. One phrase that stuck out to me that I learned in working on this event: when the sound of shelling gets louder, it means you're on the right path. What we are doing is scaring those in power, those entrenched capitalist, imperialist, racist forces that fight and struggle every day to keep us down. They know that we're coming together, we're reaching out, and we're touching the minds of people. And this year's African Liberation Day, with the themes of African internationalism, that sense of African identity because we say we are African, not because of the pigment of our skin or because of the status assigned to us in society. These are really important things to keep in mind. And the fundamental, ultimate message to all of it, of African internationalism, of African socialism, of the APSP, of African Liberation Day, and all true liberation struggles. We cannot all be free until Africa is free, until Africans are free everywhere in the world. This event was really affirming and positive experience to be a part of that liberation and to push for it. Grassroots, community level organization and involvement led by groups like the Black Panther Party and the African People's Socialist Party and the Socialist Unity Party and all the other national liberation movements that fight so that Africans in our communities can have decent living conditions. These are the ones that spurred on and prompted this societal change in our community. And that's why it was really inspiring to take that as the site of our march for African Liberation Day again. There was also the conference with vendors and members of the community and different organizations and representatives from one of the broadest coalitions of ideologies and ethnicities and really people that I've seen in a while, with everyone from socialist groups to cultural and religious movement taking the stage and coming together to unite behind this solidarity movement for the Uhuru 3 and for African liberation. And how could I forget the conference where some of the greatest minds that I've ever had the pleasure of sharing a room with came together to discuss those issues and struggles and successes and promising wins that we are seeing in our fight for African liberation in our communities on a day-to-day. I just want to express my extreme gratitude for being involved with organizations and having a space like the San Diego Justice Center that makes the events and these discussions possible. Oh, and how could I forget the film screening series we did in preparation to discuss the themes of African liberation. Controversial as it was, we chose to go with the Marvel Black Panther films, a choice that I fought for quite hard in organizing these and planning them. And I think I was really vindicated to see how they paid off and how those discussions played out. Obviously, we're not here and we were never there to support Marvel or Disney or the film industry or the message of those films, but to really evaluate how, even with those flaws, those films did touch and spark this curiosity or this awareness of themes like African liberation, African internationalism, Pan-Africanism, decolonialism in the everyday consciousness of Black Americans, African Americans, and all people around the world. To really draw on the appeal of those discussions and films to reach the masses. And that's why I view this as such a success. I think the accessibility of those films and the familiarity with those characters and concepts makes it a lot easier for those of us who aren't already extremely politically developed or knowledgeable or involved in organizing to come out and grapple with those concepts and those themes and those historical ideas, and to be connected with other members and leaders in our community. Once again, just a final shout out to the African People's Socialist Party, International Uhuru Movement, the leaders of those movements, and at local, regional, and national levels are the ones that really drive African Liberation Day from its inception and all the way through today. And I'm just honored to have been included and participated as a part of that. Also, shout out to the other organizations that were there: African People's Socialist Party, Impedum, International Uhuru Movement, Socialist Unity Party, Nation of Islam, UNIA ACL, African National Women's Organization, Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa, the Party for Socialism and Liberation, Answer Coalition, Peace and Freedom Party, the Black Panther Party of San Diego, and Malaya Movement. All just great orgs and such a diverse, broad spectrum coming together in solidarity and unity. Inspirational. Happy African Liberation Day, everybody.